Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into the history of a firearm that is as controversial as it is iconic, the Japanese Nambu Type 14 pistol, often mistakenly called the Japanese Luger. This pistol has a fascinating and complex story that's deeply intertwined with the history of 20th century Japan. So, grab a seat, and let's explore the origins, development, and service record of the Nambu Type 14. To truly understand the Type 14, we have to go back to its predecessor, the Grandpa Nambu, officially known as the Type A. It was designed by the legendary Kidro Nambu, a man often called the John Browning of Japan. Nambu was a prolific firearms designer, and his early semi-automatic pistol designs were his attempt to bring Japan's military into the modern age of sidearms. The Grandpa Nambu was a well-made, albeit complex and expensive, pistol. It was sold commercially and to some Japanese officers, but it never became the standard-issue sidearm for the Imperial Japanese Army. The army needed something simpler, cheaper, and faster to produce. Enter the 1920s. After studying the shortcomings of the earlier models, the Army's Technical Bureau, under Nambu's guidance, began work on a simplified version. The goal was to create a reliable and cost-effective pistol that could be mass-produced. The result of this effort, officially adopted in the 14th year of the Taisho Emperor's reign, was the Type 14. That year, 1925, is why it's called the Type 14. Visually, the Type 14 certainly shares a silhouette with the German Luger P08, which is where the common misconception comes from. Both have a similar grip angle and overall profile. However, mechanically, they are worlds apart. The Luger uses a complex and expensive toggle lock action, while the Nambu employs a much simpler short-recoil locked breech system. It was a practical design, chambered for the unique 8x22mm Nambu cartridge, a relatively low-powered round compared to its Western counterparts like the 9mm Parabellum or .45 ACP. Early production of the Type 14, starting around 1927, was carried out at the Tokyo Arsenal and later at the Nagoya Arsenal. These early models are often called small trigger guard Nambus. They were finely crafted, with a good level of fit and finish, a testament to the peacetime manufacturing standards. However, soldiers operating in the cold climates of Manchuria soon discovered a problem. The small, round trigger guard made it nearly impossible to fire the pistol while wearing thick winter gloves. This was a serious design flaw for an army expanding its operations into northern China. This feedback from the field led to a significant redesign in 1939. The most noticeable change was the introduction of a large oblong trigger guard, often referred to as the large trigger guard or Manchurian model. This simple change drastically improved the pistol's usability in cold weather. At the same time, other modifications were made. A magazine safety was added, preventing the pistol from firing without a magazine inserted. This was a feature requested by the Army to reduce accidental discharges. Furthermore, the grip panels were changed from grooved wood to a simpler design to speed up production. As Japan's involvement in the Second Sino-Japanese War intensified and then expanded into World War II, the demand for Type 14 pistols skyrocketed. Production was ramped up, and quality control, inevitably, began to suffer. The finely blued finish of the early guns was replaced with a rougher, wartime expedient finish. Tool marks became more apparent, and the overall craftsmanship declined as factories rushed to arm a rapidly expanding military. In service, the Type 14 earned a mixed reputation. Its 8mm cartridge lacked the stopping power of other service pistols of the era. While it was generally accurate and had low recoil, making it easy to shoot, it also developed a reputation for being somewhat unreliable. A common issue was the weak recoil spring, which could lead to failures to feed. The magazine spring was also a known weak point, sometimes causing the last few rounds in the magazine to misfeed. Another infamous, and arguably overstated, characteristic was the firing pin. Early models had a firing pin that was prone to breaking, and later models had a redesigned, more robust version. Still, the reputation stuck. Perhaps the most dangerous flaw was the last-ditch models produced at the very end of the war. In 1944 and 1945, these pistols were crudely made, with minimal finishing and often skipping safety features. They are a stark reflection of Japan's desperate industrial situation late in the war. For the average Japanese soldier, the Type 14 was a symbol of their service. It was issued primarily to officers, non-commissioned officers, and specialists like vehicle crews and pilots. It was carried across the vast expanses of China, through the jungles of Southeast Asia, and on the islands of the Pacific. It was a constant companion in some of the harshest conditions imaginable. While soldiers may have complained about its quirks, it was the pistol they had, and they learned to rely on it. After the war, vast quantities of Type 14 pistols were surrendered to Allied forces. Many American, British, and Australian soldiers brought them home as war trophies. This is why the Nambu Type 14 is one of the most common Japanese firearms found in collections in the West today. Its unique look and the stories it carries have made it a fascinating piece of military history. Looking back, the Nambu Type 14 was a product of its time and its nation's circumstances. It was an attempt to modernize the Japanese military's sidearms on a budget. It wasn't the best pistol of the war, not by a long shot. It had its flaws, born from a need for mass production and design compromises. But it is far from the worst pistol ever made label that some have given it. It was a functional weapon that served an entire army through one of the largest conflicts in human history. Its story is one of innovation, compromise, and the immense pressures of total war. It's a tangible link to a pivotal moment in world history, and for that reason, it will always be a subject of fascination for collectors and historians alike. Thank you so much for joining me on this historical journey. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button, and consider subscribing for more deep dives into military history. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Nambu Type 14, or if there's another piece of history you'd like to see covered. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video.